What was school like for you? Grammar school, high school? Start with grammar school.
School was cool.
But grammar school, that's kid shit, right?
Yeah.
You were like, what kind of kid were you? Were you into
I was
studying
always like a cool kid.
Now-
I was always a fun kid.
Would you, if you had to say in between bully and being bullied, where were you?
Now I think I'm more the bully side.
Never had experience with people picking on you?
No, I've had people
Well,
try,
I asked
but
that because everybody, even the most confident people I see, they've gone through something that made them either take that confidence and and not fear nobody and just be a cool person, or they flip it and say I'm gonna get other people done.
that's what it was.
So,
growing up,
okay.
since like I was always cool, funny, they would take that as a sign of weakness. So some dudes will always try to test you, and so you got to put hands on them.
Yeah.
So when they used to see like I'm humble, I carry myself the way I am now. I carry myself everywhere I go. I don't try to be nobody extra. I'm always the same dude. So it's like for me to come out of character and put my hands on somebody or spaz out, like they know that it really took a lot for me to get there. So like they basically respect it more, you know what I'm saying? More than anything. Like, if he put his hands on somebody or if he came out his face, it had to be something serious to get him to that level. You know what I'm saying?
High school, what were you like in high school?
High school is where everything like kind of like took a turn left-wise, because it was like I was already tired of going. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna. I didn't finish school. I knew I wasn't gonna finish school. And no lie, like since like junior high school, I ain't like school. I just went because I had to go. Like I didn't want to get my ass whooped or nothing like that. So I would go to school or dip off.
Mm-hmm.
But like high school was cool because it's like any school I went to, I was always like, I don't want to say popular, but I was known.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was always known by the cool kids, by the popular kids, or whatever the case may be. I always fit in.
So what's a typical day in high school? Since you're not into the classwork, what do you do?
Joking.
Just
I was just the jokester. Like,
superstar.
yeah, I go in there. But to be honest, like I would spend a lot of time writing poetry.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't even care about what's going on as far as classwork. I would just be in my notebook, like any words came or any.
What do you think is the reason? Because a lot of people do, especially rappers, of course. They're living a fucked up life. Let's say you're in the hood. You just told me you wake up, bodies, crackheads, and all this stuff. Yet, for some reason, even while you're in school, you're clearly intelligent. You're smart enough to write the poetry and get deep in thought. What do you think makes you want to do that instead of focus on the schoolwork?
To be honest, I can't even answer that. It's just, I always had a thing with writing. Always, like, journals, just personal thoughts. Like, growing up, I was, like, even now, anybody will tell you, like, if I'm in a certain situation, if I'm upset, I kind of, like, close off to myself. I was always alone about myself. So, anytime I was by myself and I would just get in right mode, I'm telling you, it could be anything. I could look out the window, see whatever, and something pop up, I'll be like, yo, let me write that down for later on. You know what I'm saying? And then when I went to school, it was more like a lazy thing because I would pass my classes, like, barely passing, but I would pass.
Yeah.
But it was more because I was lazy. I didn't want to do the work. I don't know what it was. I was always like a drifter. Okay. Like it's easy for me to drift off. I could be talking to you right now and something will pop up and we could be talking and I'll start thinking about something. I was always like that.
Did you have anybody that you could tell this stuff to, that because you're writing down your thoughts and your feelings, did you have like a best friend you could pull to the side, or was that the reason why you was writing?
I think more or less.
Because you're not gonna. I'm sure you wrote some shit that you would never tell nobody.
Of course, we all have. We all have. Yeah, we all have. And in the beginning, I wrote basically for myself. It was like I'm having a conversation with myself.
Yeah.
Instead of being able to, let me tell this person, or feeling a certain way like they're gonna judge me or whatever, then I would just write and I'll read it back to myself like if I'm somebody else reading it.
Yeah.
So, and then from there it just became a hobby. Like writing, starting in a journal became to writing poetry. Writing poetry, you know what I'm saying? It became to writing a hook or a song, and then I just kept going from there. So then, like from me starting the journal, it kind of like started my journey towards writing music.
Do you have any of the old written stuff still with you? Do you have it at all? Like
I'm in the house. Yeah, I got a whole. My wife could tell you, I got a whole book bag full of just old rhymes on papers that I could barely even. It's so old that I don't even think I could rap it to myself anymore.
Have you ever sat back and just looked at an old rhyme and like, where was my mind at that time?
It's funny that you said that. I was going through a whole bunch of old CDs because I had a whole bin full of CDs. So I'm like, yo, all these CDs, they got no names. I know it's old music. So I start going through them. When I start listening to the songs, I'm like, what was I thinking? Yeah. Like, bro, you thought that was hot?
It's not even that it's hot, but because I'm not even saying in a judging you, but the fact that you've documented or archived, like what I'm doing here, your journey of writing, the way you changed your life. Now you can look back, but y'all was young when I said that.
Yes.
Shit, where a lot of people don't have that. She doesn't have a catalog of what she said when she was 15, where you do. It might not make it into the, let's say, Billboard charts, but your kid or somebody might find this and be like, yo, he was on some shit at that time.
Yeah.
You can look back and see maybe the growth of who you are as a person. It's dope to keep that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing. I could definitely go back and see the growth. Because like when I first started, it was a lot of bang, bang, kill him, shoot him. You know, like,
just let me loose.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even know how to write songs when I first started writing. It was just like 5 minutes of just bars. Until my cousin actually was like, when I started recording with him, he had a studio in his crib. He was like, yo, you don't know how to do songs? I'm like, what you mean songs? He's like, you don't know how to do like a verse and a hook? I was like, it's just bars. I just let it out. He's like, nah. So what I started doing was I would take like a Jadakiss song. And I'd be like, all right, I'm going to rap when he starts rapping until he finishes to learn the structure. Copy. So I started doing that. And that's how I became it became a little bit easier to start writing songs.
So you went from just journaling your life, writing poetry, and then
I started doing songs.
And you're from the Bronx, so hip hop is most likely in your DNA without even.
You know what's crazy? What actually made me start writing music was I don't know if I know you got to remember Lord Tariq,
of course,
Peter Guns man. He used to be down with a crew called Gun Runners. A lot of people probably don't even know that. Back in the days. And I cut school one day in my man Robert's house, Robert was his nephew. So he's like, oh, yo, I'm going to put you on my uncle, because he knew I started rapping at the time. So I'm listening. I'm like, yo, who's this? He's like, oh, that's my uncle. They called him Tariq. I took that tape home, right? A lot of people don't even know this. I took that tape home. I memorized his verse and started running around spitting it like it was my verse, right?
There's a lot of stories like
that. So a lot of my mans was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, you just started rapping, so I'm just running with it. Yeah, I'm running with it. So then one day I was like, yo, let me just try it myself. And I started like writing little bars here and there.
You remember your first actual attempt at rapping?
Yeah, it was. No, I'm not gonna lie. If I still have those bars in the archive, yo, the bars were crazy, right? Because I had people looking at me like, but the second time I try to go back, trash. I was like, what is this?
All right, who were you hanging out with? And what did you learn from them at that age?
Man, listen, a lot of knuckleheads. Like, we was all in our own way. We was all knuckleheads, but we was like smart kids. Yeah. Like, we knew what we was doing.
Well, think about it. You got to survive in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Any hood, you got to survive. There's a big misconception that people are just ignorant. We do crime and do ignorant shit just to do it. It's opportunity.
Exactly.
Because if you're smart enough to hustle and because people make bread in the hood, clearly. But they don't have the options of a computer or let's go build an app and all that. So, yeah, I can understand when you say you're smart, but you're running around with knuckleheads.
Yeah, we was just basically like
burn down buildings.
Yeah, yo, let me tell you, when we first started running the streets, like I would say like maybe 14, 15 years old, we used to leave the crib on a regular. Like I would leave if I didn't feel like something going on in the crib, and we had an empty apartment, right? My man used to live on the 4th floor. My man Andre. His family moved to Atlanta and left the crib. The crib was still paid for like another month. So we was just running crazy in the crib, throwing parties, and just, being reckless, teenagers. So we didn't have no bread like that. And at the time, like, I would say like this was before we started like grinding, like, hustling. Yeah. Oh yeah, 40s was, come on. we would go. We had a shotgun, right? It had no pin in it, so you couldn't shoot it. But we would get in the back of a cab and take the cab under the like. If you familiar with my section, it's like Bronx River Projects. When you get in towards Bronx River Projects, it's like a little underpath. So we would wait to get under the underpath, and you already know what time it was. Let me get everything. So we would take turns. It'd be me and my man, or my man and one of my other mans. Everybody would take turns, like trying to get this money. Yeah, sure. One day, my man's go, right? Funny story. My man's going, pour a little lick off. They come back to the hallway. I hear my man's arguing. No, fuck that. I'm like, what's going on? These dudes came back with like $14, right? So I hear them arguing. I told you to go under the mat. So I'm just there bugging. So my man gets tight. He throws the $14 on the floor. Guess who came by and picked the $14 up? Me. 14. Yo, bro, listen, we like 14 years old. We don't even got bread like that. We still gotta act mommy and daddy. Yeah. So what we would do, we'd go get a bag of smoke. That's $5. Go get the wrap. Mm-hmm. At that time, chicken wings and French fries were like $2.50. Bro, I swear to God, yo, that's what we was doing though.
So, if you had to take one lesson away from those guys that you were hanging around at that time, what would you say? What did you learn from it that you took with you moving forward?
Moving forward, like you just can't be stuck doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Like, to this day, I know dudes my age that still run around trying to bag 15, 16-year-old. You's a grown man, dude. You's a weirdo. Like you still living in the era of let's go chill in the hallway and go smoke a blunt. Who does that? Bro, like nobody. Like listen, you's a grown man. You got kids of your own. Like how you trying to run around bad kids? Like you don't feel like, dude. Let me tell you, a dude my age. My daughter's 21. I don't care if you 25. 25 is too old for my daughter. I don't care, bro. Like it just looks weird. Like you in your 40s and you still trying to run around like you 18, 19.
Arrested development.
Yeah.
Stuck in that age.
Yo, and it's a lot.
The day he had the most fun, the year he had the most fun, he stayed there.
And they still there, bro. I'm surprised. I still go to the old neighborhood and I'm like, yo, these dudes are still in the corner. That's played out.
I walked into, maybe a few years ago, I walked into a bar. I don't hang out no more. But I walked into a bar I used to go to. Dudes were still there.
Yeah.
That I came up with. I went to the bathroom. I came out. He was talking to me like if I had just left. And I hadn't been there in years. And I'm like, my man, you have not changed. Like, he's like, yo, go to the jukebox, press that number. I'm like, yo, does that protect your neck?
Wow.
Did you just protect your neck? They're stuck.
Yeah, and that's what it is. They don't want to move past that era.
A lot of people are scared of success, scared to have to deal with shit. Because it's not easy.
They're scared to change.
It's easy to stay the same. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy. Okay. What would you change if you could about your childhood?
What would I change? I think I would change a little bit my character. Like I was like I said, I was like real immature growing up, and it like kind of like blocked a lot of stuff going on. Like even when it came to girls, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was never like that dude that thought he was all that, or I never even considered myself like a ladies' man, like they say. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, like all the popular chicks, like always gravitated towards me. You know what I'm saying? But I will always mess it up because I was always young-minded, always playing games and running around, hee hee ha ha. So it's like that's one of the things I always said if I could change, I would change that.
Did you have any adult male that you saw that might have like he had a good relationship, he treated women right, that you could have been like, you could have looked at and got an idea from? There was nothing like that.
Nah.
It was just...
Yeah, it was just...
The boys.
Yeah, that is...
You had Snoop Dogg with the bitches and
shit.
The music was different.
Not for nothing. You know what I look at? Like, me and my crew, it's going to sound funny. We was like the Goonies, bro. Like, we was always on adventures. Yeah. We would just... listen, we're going to meet up at 4 o'clock on a corner. And from there, we would just walk off to any hoods, any blocks, and just... post up.
Think about it. You talking early 90s. There's no cell phones. So
no. It was bikes.
Yo, what time you want to meet there? Give me a time.
Yeah,
there's no other communication.
Exactly.
You might have missed them for 2 seconds, and that's a whole new adventure.
Exactly, and that's how we was. We took advantage of all that.